We're now starting at 4 o'clock for the cemetery committee. Can we do roll call? Corin, we'll start with you.
Okay. Corin Hallowell, Parks and Greenery Foreman, City of Portsmouth.
Michael Griffin, present.
Eva Boyce.
Biggest point? Here.
Sue Polidoro.
Susan Sterry.
Dee Forte. Celeste Brooks.
Okay, thank you. First, did anybody get a chance to read? The minutes went out yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I read them. I was fine with them, so I wait to see what the rest of you.
My only comment would be that she does an outstanding job.
Yeah,
I agree,
he does.
especially from doing it on the
From this, yeah,
from video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for sure. I thought they were fine, so I moved to accept them.
I
seconded.
okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on to the next item. Ideas on placards and, oh, that was from last time. I still haven't gotten any information. Oh, Duncan, glad to see you. Information on where we can put them. They still have to look into that,
Right.
so. Pruning at North Cemetery a couple weeks ago. You were, I don't know where you were, but Max had a crew available for 2 or 3 hours. He sent them to North Cemetery, and it was the big entrance where the sign is. They took out this big bush that was blocking the 3 lilacs, and I went down and checked, and the lilacs are actually starting to come forward a little bit. They trimmed back the shrubs so they're not hanging over the road. I mean, not the road, but the walkway, and we trimmed some stuff up at the other side.
Along down toward the fence or the wall?
The wall, where the big blue sign is, that's where they landscaped.
Okay, I thought that was.
And then-
wide open there.
Well, there are shrubs that are flowering and that just require maintenance. Just, so
Yeah, I mean, some of the branches were, like, if you were walking down the sidewalk there, you were tall enough, you could bump your head, you'd have to duck and stuff. So it was no heavy duty, it was just light stuff. And I can't even remember why. I guess he had a crew that, I have no idea. Did he talk to you?
No, I didn't even know, actually.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it was like one of those last minute things, and he sent him down
I
there.
had a spare minute, so I just used it as filler to finish the day or something.
Yeah, it was just in the afternoon for a couple hours. They dug out some of the trees that were growing up in between the granite and the ground further back and stuff, so,
Right.
which was very nice, and it's a subtle change. Hall Cemetery, I would like to bring up the subject of ground cover up there. I haven't been up this week, but the lilies that are up in Hall Cemetery, they're getting taller and taller, and they're going to obscure what headstones are standing anyway. Lily of the Valleys were still doing fine last week when I went up, even though the sun had been blaring down. And I had sprayed some vinegar, extra strength vinegar. It worked on some stuff, but other stuff it didn't. So, we got patches of dirt here, and there, lily of the valley. And I don't even know that those lilies, whatever they are, if they even bloomed last year.
Is it a vine or a lily?
No, it's a,
It's daylilies, isn't it?
I'm not so sure it's a daylily as much it's another one that begins with L, and it sends up a big purple flower.
Or iris?
No, it's
Is it
just
a ball? Lupin?
no. I'll look it up. I should have looked up before I come. It's just a single stem, and it has some blue, like a poker plant at the end. It's
That's-
licorice or licoria or something like that.
Sure.
But anyway, Steve, who is not here, he had a family thing. We went up 3 weeks ago and we sprayed all the headstones, and they look good. the ones that were standing. They pretty much self-cleaned with all this rain and continue to. And then we marked all the ones that are over. So if we hadn't marked them, I had the flags left over. If we hadn't marked them, you'd have to go really tromping through. So that's what made me think even more if we could keep it to ground covers, so for further maintenance, there won't be any really. I didn't know if you or I, or if we could meet with Earl one morning real quick and decide what maybe a good ground cover would be.
I mean, we can. I've been up there with him, and we both agree sort of over time that Lily of the Valley will just take over.
Even in the full sun, that was my
I
concern.
think so. Yeah, but we can go back up with him probably in a few weeks. He's really busy right now.
No, that's fine, it's just a
Few weeks
summer.
we could. We might even be able to transplant some of it next spring to help spread it out. But we can. I haven't been up there for a little bit, so it'd be worth.
And I want to go up to see if something really flowers, because I remember being up there with the tree committee, and the green leaves, which they look like daylilies, there was nothing blooming. So I don't know if it's going to be
It could be
different.
because they've been so sheltered.
Right.
And now they're gonna.
Right.
We might consider adding another type of ground cover so we have a blend, but we can go take a look at it.
Yeah. So I just,
Lily of the Valley is so invasive. It's like,
right.
Well, it's aggressive, but it's not invasive.
I had it in my garden,
Yeah.
and it took me a long time to just pull it out.
I know, but
Well,
in this situation,
kinda
it's a good
spread
thing because
out.
it will spread itself, and then we can,
I agree. It's so pretty.
yeah.
And the neighbor next door, we were talking to her. She has a ton of lily valley on the other side, which she would probably gladly let us
I mean, I
transplant.
really do think over time that it won't take, now that it's open, a few seasons, that place will just be covered.
It's very pretty.
Yeah.
Right, but we probably would have to cut down the lily, though, right?
I don't know, I gotta go look at it.
Right.
Let's meet up there.
Yeah. So I just wanted to get it out in the open, so when time comes. And then, how could we get more, wood chips up there, and not right away, but just in a
For
plan?
the path,
Yeah.
we could talk to Max. We can haul them over there and get them up in there with a tractor at some point, maybe this fall.
Okay.
Yeah. no
How
problem.
far does that path currently reach?
All the way to the back.
Oh.
About
Halfway?
halfway, a little more than a
A
halfway.
little over half.
Should be a truckload more.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
could probably do that this fall. Get a couple truckloads in there and start spreading them.
Right.
Extend that all the way up to the entrance.
Yeah. So, yeah, just to get it out there for us right now. And I agree, we should see what paired before, truthfully. All right, so Hall, headstone straightening. We're going to let Corin talk about it, since you had the crew up there.
Well, you
What was a week ago? Was it?
organized it, so it was
All right, well, it was 2
10
weeks
days
ago now.
Yeah, something like that.
2 weeks
And
ago.
John Lord, is that his name?
John Lord, yeah.
With the New Hampshire Historic.
Old Graveyard
Yeah.
Committee. He came with his friend, and it was really interesting. Michael was there, and Steve came, and Corin's crew came. So I sent a picture to see if they would put it in the city
Great.
newsletter.
Yeah.
We loved it. It was.
Was it in there?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I want to try
The
to get it in.
experience was great.
They were all engaged. I was impressed.
Yeah, so we, John, they picked a row, and why I'm going to talk about this is it was like 4 or 5 headstones, and then there was one that was sort of laying on the bottom. But by the time everybody was digging and straightening, we had found 2 more headstones that had been buried. Not that far down, but because we were moving the ground over here, it came out. And it took a good couple hours to do it. And John gave us a lot of really good tips. Why not to scratch it with your trowel, to use this scooper to put stuff back in, how much gravel to use, that type of thing. So, and then Steve, who loves to clean, was right there cleaning the headstones. So we have this really nice row that stands out there now that just standing them straight is going to make a big difference.
I haven't been
So-
up, but I think Steve's been busy with the brick.
Yes, he said that.
Grabbed a bunch, so.
Yeah, he. I didn't go to that site. No, I haven't been up in over a week. But when he texted me, he had said the brick was there and that he had made the.
Yeah, I need to go look at that. It's awesome.
And Steve, there's two ways. You can just dig and then put two pieces of 2x4s with clamps, and then two people can lift up a headstone if you need to lift it up. Or there's another way. It's a tripod and whatever the.
He's building one now, I believe.
Right, yeah.
He scrapped a old goal we had, an old soccer goal. We let him come. It's already disappeared. He's a very industrious
Oh, he
man.
took it to like the second
So I
day.
think he's in the process of building a tripod. I've actually got that's a good reminder. I told him I'd get him a,
Is he a local guy?
Buzzle.
yeah,
Yeah, Steve. Yeah,
a chain fall.
yeah. Chain draw.
Yes.
Yeah, I told him I'd pick one up and I completely forgot, so it's a good.
So there's a headstone that I would like to see repaired. I can talk to someone and have you guys do it
Where's that? You mean in North?
in North.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to promise that you could put it on the list, and if we have time in the fall.
Yeah, yes, I thought we were all going to be trained in doing that, but it seems like you're going to be in charge of it.
No. How it's going to work is, Steve, Peter.
I gotta work with Steve.
I just got done talking to Suzanne, and I'm going to use that as an excuse. I've got so much information. I'm sorry, Peter. We'll train you, and it won't necessarily be. They got trained so that this is a good time to talk about our mission, because that's what I was talking to Suzanne about. And way back when we first started, our mission was to restore and preserve and save our cemeteries for future generation, but also that they would easily be maintained. So that's what we're working on now, is our mission to. The grass is doing well all over the place as far as being kept mowed and those kinds of things. We've cleaned headstones. We're going to start straightening headstones, and then John will come back and teach us how to, or show us how the best way to actually repair headstones. So it's going to be a slow process. In the meantime, we can train other people. So Steve and Michael and myself, and we can, as long as we're supervising, we can go ahead with the project. So hopefully we can build up a small crew, and it does take guys. I was there. I'm not.
No, it has to be someone with strength.
Yeah, and it's a lot of digging. It's not so much moving the headstone. There's a lot of digging, and you hit a lot of stuff. So unless you work out all the time, most women aren't going to.
That's what I was glad that somebody else was doing the heavy work.
So our next goal is to get a small crew of people.
I'm there to
trained.
tighten the brackets around and put the cement and clean it up.
Or push the wheelbarrow. Yeah, you could do that. So anyway, that's our next process. And also, we won't have a regular schedule. We'll talk to these guys, and we can do it at random, and it's going to be a tough project as far as, especially in the summertime, we could at a week at a time and say, we can all meet at 9 o'clock when it's cool out. We'll pick these 4 headstones and go ahead and do it that day. And we can do it spare of the moment. So it's not going to be as organized as cleaning once a month, every Saturday, or 4 Saturdays in a row, because we're doing a special project. So that's one portion of it. The other portion in the summer will be, maybe trying to figure out how to get the headstones down at Halls straightened up. But we won't have anything on a regular basis this summer. The projects that we have left are just too big in the sense of repairing and straightening. We have so many of them to do. That's a big project in and on itself. So I think, or my thought is, and I talked to a few people about this, is I would like to focus on cotton, only in the sense that our doors are almost all repaired. They're going to come and sandblast cotton burial ground and straighten that up. And I want to find out if we can submit it someplace as this is how you can restore a colonial cemetery. I mean, that's not why we're doing it, but I think with all the hard work that the city and all the volunteers and this committee have been doing, it would be nice to, see if we could win something or get recognized or set a model. But that's down the end. So that's our big concentration. And then the other thing would be fundraising. I spoke to Suzanne, and all these jobs cost money, and we're not going to get $700,000 from the city in the next 10 years to do this. So I was able to get a pledge from Eli Sokoloris, is it?
Very good.
He owns State Street. His accountant told me she sent a $1,000 check last week. He gave me personal names of the people working right down by North Cemetery. And I texted him, and out of the 3, 2 replied. And one of them is the building that's going up right now on the corner. The head guy is Tom Balin. And then the one that's going in across from the Foundry, his name is Kim Rogers, and they're both traveling, but when they get back in the middle of June, they would like to walk the cemetery with us.
Excellent.
And see what's what. And those are the only people I've contacted so far. I wanted to see how it goes. But that's what we have to do. I mean, we can do all these small things, but the big picture costs a lot of money. And so I guess I'm just throwing that out there. If anybody thinks there's a different approach or have other ideas.
We looked into Flatbread Disc Community Nights, where they give % of the profits from those nights to whatever, like they'll do it for the high school,
Yeah.
they'll do it for local things.
And this is just my personal preference. That's glad. I mean, we could do those things, but I don't want to head them up if somebody wants to do that, because the kind of money I'm talking about is more than $1,000. I mean,
That's also something that
It
if
gets-
you're looking at, people
Yeah.
become more aware. So, if people don't know about it, they can't give money. And, asking individually, it's great if that's going to get us lots of money, but unless people know what's going on,
yeah, I agree. I mean, if that's something you would like to take on,
I can certainly call and ask about it.
or if you think of any other companies that might do that. My history night at the library last week or the week before, there were between 40 and 45 people there. And they stayed the whole hour and a half, and everybody seemed, according to Katie and Paulina, everybody was really interested, had a lot of really good questions. A lot of people that are associated with cemeteries or history in the area were there. So that was a good start as far as getting out, into the community. And now, I'm hoping that we can use that to talk to a few other people. From the Athenaeum, they offered the opportunity if I wanted to write a column once a month, or not a column, but put something in about our cemeteries once a month. They would review it and be glad to start doing that. And that would certainly be a good group of people to remind. And they send out an email too. So between the letter and the email, we could potentially be in that fairly often to remind people what's going on in the city. Who else was? And I think I told you the Historical Society is thinking about doing a tour, maybe of all the cemeteries, starting either in the fall or first thing in the spring. So that will get us out there, too. Anybody else have any ideas or think we should be focusing on anything in particular other than what I'm chattering on about?
Well, can I just mention some of the fundraising
Sure.
things? So I spend time almost every day, sometimes only 10 minutes, but I'm always online looking for grants and things like that. So I've tried so many different approaches. The other day I tried the National Park Service, and I don't know what made me do that, but I just thought maybe they do things. And they do.
Yeah.
But believe it or not, one of the things that they said was that grants for cemetery preservation is one of the most difficult things to get. Those were words I wasn't thrilled about reading.
That, just to interject, that's why we need this the local CLG,
Right.
because that means the state of New Hampshire has certified us as very historical,
Right.
preservation-minded. So that's why I've been harping
Right.
about it, and hopefully at
That
the end
will
of
help
this
a
month.
lot. That will
Yeah.
help a lot.
Continue.
But the, before, at our last meeting, we talked about the New Hampshire Charitable Trust Foundation, and Sue needs to meet with Suzanne to determine whether we can get on our own portal or through the city. And no matter how it works out, I feel we should get to it right away, because although we're not talking about $500,000 or something like
Right.
that, they do give out substantial grants, and they're very quick. They meet every month or every other month. They meet, and they decide, and it doesn't look like the process is too onerous. And all of the members of the trust are local, so I would think that you could network through them without even them realizing it. So that's what I'm hopeful. I hope we can get through the portal. And I do have a question that's sort of related to our mission. So, but if it's not the appropriate
Yeah, no, go ahead.
time. So one of the things that's been on my mind is that we've always talked about leaving things in perpetuity so people know how we did it. And at this point, we've been meeting several years, and somebody would have to go through all of the minutes and all that stuff. And I wondered if we could create just some kind of, well, list seems like a lame word, but just some list of our activities, and maybe even some special contacts, so somebody 10 years down the road wouldn't have to go.
You mean like a guidebook?
It's not even, yes, but that, I like what you're saying. I don't mean anything extensive, but just a roadmap of
Yeah.
what we did, and maybe a little bit about how we did it, so that somebody could look back and see. I'm sure somebody here, I hope I haven't confused, but somebody here can probably explain it better than I can. It's my own thought, but.
I'm sorry, having like a reference guide to, like,
Yes.
who to contact, or, this grant, we had to contact these people in order to go through with it, but having some
Like
instructions.
cemetery cleaning, New Hampshire Graveyard Association guidance, just things like that. I don't mean anything extensive, because then nobody would want to look at it.
Right, yeah.
But if there was some kind of roadmap or reference, less word is a good one.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree with you. That's why every once in a while Suzanne makes me either submit a long outline of what we had done between the
Oh, I
last,
did that.
or speak to them.
I don't want to usurp your.
No. I only do it because Suzanne, that's her approach to keeping the city council involved.
Yeah.
And so, and I just go back through the agenda or look at each cemetery and say, oh yeah, we did this, and this. I don't disagree with you. I think there should be some more of a record and how we did it. And that could probably go up as a referral on the webpage. And I don't know if anyone else has noticed, if you type in North Cemetery now, the city page for North Cemetery, what we've described on the website comes up, which that didn't happen before. And it's for all of them. So they are working on things for, I mean, if that, can we,
Sorry, I have a question. Do we have internal access to the city site, like just for members? Like members
to look at what?
like stuff like this, like if we had a bunch of our contact information, let's say, to get a hold of all of us, if we needed it, do we have like a spot we could go into that's for
No.
city employees or committee members only? Is there?
No, no, I don't. And I hate to sound like a broken record, but again, that would be something that, to give out information, general information on the city site, it would have to go through all kinds of, that's why I rolled my
Yeah, but it wouldn't be general
approval.
information, it would just be internal information. So like, we could keep a guidebook
The only
just
thing-
for internal use on the site for future people. Does that make sense? Am I being clear?
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. That would be something that Monty would have to do. If we put it together, then he would put it online somehow, maybe on the cemetery page, and you'd have to log in or something
But
like
it's
that.
possible to keep a guidebook online just for
Yeah,
internal
it probably
access.
is. It probably is.
Like an admin thing?
Yeah.
And you're thinking of like doing a synopsis of each year, like of everything we did in a year, so you wouldn't have to look at each minute?
You're
Or,
like a
little more-
combination.
A little more specific.
okay.
A journal, maybe?
I guess you could call, I'm not sure, maybe I'll think about it more.
I was just going to say, yeah, or even do a brief outline. But before we dive into this, I want to check with Monty, because I don't want us to be putting in hours of work for it to not get posted or used, or just have a booklet that as a committee we end up having for ourselves, because whoever's on the committee going forward, if they'd even look at it. So
I'm talking about what we leave behind, for the next generation of cemetery committee people,
right,
so that it isn't lengthy, nothing lengthy, but something that provides direction.
That would be helpful.
Yeah, something that would be, I promise I'll think about it more.
Yeah,
Before
yeah.
I annoy and confuse all of you.
No,
That's not my mind.
Right now, I'd speak up and say there have to be a lot about how important it is that you need to stay within the guidelines of both the city and the state
Yeah, that's
before
right.
you do anything. But no, I think that's a good idea, more of a...
I'll think about it more.
Because, a good place for you is the New Hampshire Old Graveyard site, to go to them, because they have a manual in there, and they have,
I was just on that site today, looking at it.
so that's a good
Thanks, Sue.
guideline.
Thanks, everyone.
Where were we talking about? Oh, where did we go? Oh, or fundraising, or any other specific areas that you might want to concentrate on. I mean, I picked Cotton and Hall and explained why, but, I'm just throwing that out there, and I've talked plenty with Corin about how much work is left to do, and those would also be the easier of all of them to clean, because if we're going to straighten, we could get the gravel and stuff dropped where it's hidden, and then just go up any time that we want to do it. So
Oh, yeah.
thinking of
Logistics.
ease and all of that, so. Any other?
Is there going to be like after the cotton's done, and the wall is,
Yeah.
are we going to put a sign up saying that the cemetery committee did this? I mean, how are people going to know that we were responsible for, or you were responsible for?
No,
I mean,
the
is-
cemetery,
Is that something we should think about, like for press? Are people going to wonder, like, why does this look so good? I mean, I actually, after you hired Andy to do that, I went over and tracked him down, and now he's doing a job for me because I went to high school with him, so it was
Yeah.
like a great
Yeah.
thing to do. But I'm thinking, you know, if you want to establish ourselves as a known entity, how do you do that? Do you
Well, I
say,
think you're doing it by having this committee.
right, but you know, after that's done, and people go, wow, that looks good. How did that happen?
Well, and I think a lot of people in this room will testify that from the very beginning, from Blue Ribbon, trying to get word about what we do or have been doing in the paper or any other place has been nearly impossible.
Okay.
And we continue to try to do it.
Not the most exciting news, is it?
What?
The cemetery committee.
No, it's not that. I mean, I'd have everything, all the things that we've done, but we can't get it in.
Unless you showed them a picture before and after, they wouldn't know or care.
But
We could do that.
the flip side.
That would be
and I'm
significant
not
if you
just
did.
talking about Cotton. I'm talking about everything that we've ever done.
Right.
That,
Right.
We're not the only organization that's frustrated with
no.
the local
no.
paper.
No, I just,
No.
You know, because, yeah, they don't seem to be covering local
Yeah.
stuff anymore. They don't have the capacity to do it, so.
And you know, Facebook's okay, but that doesn't reach out. I mean, the city newsletter goes out to, I think Monty told me, like 800 people. We can't even get anything in that.
We should
Yes,
be.
3.
We should be able to, though. Why can't we get anything?
Well, a local, an article.
No, she's tried.
I know.
An article in one of the local online publications that cover Portsmouth is 10,000 clicks. So
10,000.
I don't know about any of them.
10,000 hits.
I don't know about any of those organizations.
So
I don't know. So if you'd like to come up with a list that to have like a group of us work on it, that would be great. I don't pay attention to any of that. I'm so busy lining up things and so frustrated, beyond frustrated, that we can't even get anything in the city newsletter that goes out once a week. It's not my bailiwick.
They kind of covered the reinterment. Not, yeah. Yeah, I understand your frustration.
Can we
Really.
put temporary signposts in the cemeteries? Like if we had, just like, you know, a wooden stake with a little, hey, did you know that the cemetery committee has been restoring headstones as a temporary sign?
We can't place anything in the cemetery. I know we're the cemetery committee, but something like that is part of the city purview, and they would want to know that and decide whether it was okay or not. I mean, there are a lot of rules.
Yeah.
Am I wrong, Corin?
The day of,
I think you guys are doing the right thing. I think the more that you do this and the more, you know, as you continue through your projects, it just becomes very clear that who's doing it and what's happening. So I think you're I think it's going very well. You know, I think at some point it just becomes pretty common knowledge that
okay. I wasn't
what's
questioning
happening
that.
is because of the
No.
cemetery.
I was just trying to press to get the media.
But what I would like to do, well, I mean, it would be great if we could enter a contest, but.
Yeah.
But what I would like to do when Cotton is done, have a rededication ceremony and try to get that in the press. That invite people and say, you know, get a picture blown up and this and say, this is what the cemetery committee, along with volunteers, have done in the last 4 years. Things like that.
Yeah.
And eventually, what gives me hope is that Kate Cook, at the meeting the other night, the city council meeting, included the cemetery in the South End projects that were going on. So the more people in the city talk about oh, we're doing this at Prescott Park, and this is what's going to happen at Point of Graves, or this is what we're doing over on Maplewood, and how it might impact the cemeteries over there. But I was jumping at home. I was like, oh yes, Kate, you did it for me. So it's just going to take time, and if anybody gets or you can put things in. You're on cemetery committee on these other pages, as long as it's just the facts and.
Just send me what you want.
Okay. Well, what do you want to put in about our committee? That's what about just the things that we're doing.
You gotta frame it not as this is a cemetery thing, but this is a history thing. People are a lot more interested in that. So once you say this is how history is preserved, and this is what we've done, and these are the people that this is either the before or the after, or this is
Before
the
and afters,
accomplished.
Those are so important.
Okay.
And that will get people's attention.
Well, no, I
No.
don't disagree. So, all right, let me write something down. All right. Does any of this make any? None of this has been cohesive. We got all over the place. Yes, we'll work on that. And I truly didn't know. I don't. How many other people look at other online? I looked at some for Portsmouth. Did the one that you told me about that time? Did it survive?
Portsmouth Pulse,
Yeah.
it's kind of limping along at this point.
Yeah.
It's had a bit of
But it's
internal
not-
upheaval.
Yeah, it's not gone.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple others before that I were following, and then all of a sudden they disappeared, so I just gave up on.
I'm not connected with those, or I don't have any knowledge of any other.
Well, no, but I'm just saying that's why I gave up on it.
The only other one I know is there's a sort of a local chapter of Facebook, but I have no involvement in it, and I don't know how it operates. I don't even belong to Facebook, so I don't know.
I don't even look at it anymore.
The only one
very
I know
rarely.
something about is Portsmouth Pulse, because I know the
Yeah.
people who run it.
Gotcha. Okay. And I want to thank Corin for saying that we're doing a good job, because how long have you been with the city now? 15 years? Did you?
About 10 and a half.
10 and a half. He faced the same kind of struggles being on the committees that he's been on.
Oh, yeah.
So he knows you just got to be a bulldog and keep asking people, and you can be nice too. Whatever you need to do. All right, so headstone, straightening, cleaning.
So can we go back to one or
Sure.
two of those? Or the headstone straightening training, do we have a date for that?
It already happened.
Oh,
But no, that's okay, because if you want to be included, I'll put you on the list. It will be Michael and Peter and.
yeah, put me on the list.
I'm interested as well.
Put me on the list.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I will send it out to all of
I
you.
just have to know, when and where.
Okay. I'll talk to Corin and see what's what. I have to talk to Corin because he has the supplies.
And also on the subject of when and where is the next item, headstone cleaning it.
I'm not doing any headstone cleaning right now, or, setting any up, because almost all the headstones have been touched at least once, and some of them are in pretty good shape. But the headstone cleaning at Union is way more than that. It's going to have to be pressure washed, the ones that are left. Corin and I have gone down several times. Some of those headstones, I don't know, you were there one day up front where it looks pretty good and pretty white, and they're in the sun. Some of those had to be cleaned 4 or 5. I personally cleaned one 6 times in the morning. I did it and then went off, came back, before it was even readable. And the ones down back are even worse. They're covered with some different brown moss or whatever is down there too. So
Okay, so when you say they're going to have to be pressure cleaned, does that mean that, people like me are not going to be of any use, or?
No, I think we can organize a day where we get a few electric, small pressure washers,
All right.
get a water truck down there, and everybody can take turns on the gun
All right,
and
well, let us know,
help
again.
spray things off as it goes. I think we
All
just
right.
have to
The Union
get a
Cemetery,
date, basically.
Yeah, the backside. And I probably,
One of the long-term issues you're going to have there is those sugar maples. D2 loves sunlight. It's underneath the canopy of a tree that's oily. Its results are not as good.
Yeah, but it'll have all winter, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not as
Good,
impressive.
good pressure washing would go a long way.
and what I'm hoping to is, according to the gentleman that made D2, is once we got them decent, then there may be areas of a cemetery that, like once a spring or whatever, it will just be a matter of going out and
Yeah.
spraying them and not having to do anything. Because Steve and I had the ones, granted Hall Cemetery is all sun now, but that sun, along with one coat of we washed them down once and then sprayed them again, and with the rain and the sun, they are all looking really good, for what we're trying to achieve. So in the long term, that's what I'm thinking, that we get everything up as best as we can, and then some sort of maintenance program where people don't have to spend, years going back and trying to clean and restore stuff. So, no, we'll never keep anybody on the committee out of helping cleaning, ever, never. And seriously, it always includes, if you know other people, when we're going to do things that would be serious about it, more than just a one time, you're always welcome to bring those people. We would never turn away anybody that wanted to be part of all the fun. So, did that answer your question?
Yeah, just
Okay. So,
Let it,
Yeah.
let us know.
yeah, definitely. Headstone fundraising, we already talked about, and I already told you. Yellow fever research got canceled. We were going to try to do it not permanently. They were going to try to do it at the end of May, and then at the last minute, everything fell through. So we'll look forward to that in in September, when they start back to school. And I already told you about the presentation at the library. And the CL, the Certified Local Government, hopefully is going to be approved this June. Something happened in May, so, and then we can not really, but it will be a big plus in our cap. Oh, Dinah Chase Whipple. The family representative was not here on May 18th. However, you talk about what's going on,
Yeah.
because
Yes.
she's the head person on it, the lead.
It kind of fell apart because Laurel Yancey was the family member that was heading it up, and she couldn't make it because of a medical emergency in the family. So it all fell apart. Nobody, there was no cemetery. There was no
Ceremony or
Ceremony, yeah.
meeting at the.
But we are shooting for the end of August to be able to actually install the headstone. Seacoast Memorials is working on it. And so I'll keep tabs on them to make sure that they're still working on it. But they seem to think the end of August is doable. So.
Now, if I may make a suggestion, because I was there waiting for the ceremony to happen, that never happened.
I feel bad. 'Cause I did go down at 1:30, and I left like right at 1:30, so I missed anybody that came down.
I went
after.
there, and
Yeah.
there were a couple of several other people. I just gave them a quick tour of the
Yeah, they
cemetery.
did. They're friends of ours, John and Ruth. So
Yeah.
they said you gave them a tour.
So The location where the temporary marker is, I was going to suggest to make it to the left of Prince Whipple's headstone. Right now, the marker is to the right.
It's to the left if you're looking at,
I'm looking at, if
you're looking at
okay.
Maplewood.
If I'm looking at the headstone, the front of it, where it says Prince Whipple, the marker is to the left.
Right.
Okay?
Correct.
I think that the marker should be to the right because there is a footstone on that to the right of Prince's grave. I'm assuming it's because there is another grave in there, probably hers.
Yeah.
So, and there is no footstone on the other side.
There isn't a footstone for him either.
There is one.
There are
Yeah.
2 footstones there, but
Yeah.
we don't know who. We don't know if they're the.
I think it looks better to have looks between balance and just being logical, just to see, because you have headstone and footstone, headstone and footstone. So if you put that headstone in this place where there is a footstone,
Now, I
it looks.
hear what you're saying. I guess
Yeah.
we're just not sure whose footstone that is. If it's,
We're not really sure that that's the place where Dinah is.
Yeah.
She could be buried someplace else with her grandkids or her kids.
but they did
So-
do that ground penetration radar
Yeah, it's,
to the.
what I'm saying is there's a footstone there that it makes sense to have a headstone go with it.
Okay.
But
I need to physically go up there and look at it. And see what you're referring to. I don't
Let me know, I'll
doubt you.
show
I
you.
just have to visually look at it. And also, again, let's bring it up again. I don't know that it makes much difference where it goes or.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, the Prince's headstone was installed in 1905.
Way after.
250 years after he.
and there is a footstone that goes with it. So it's like they probably did a best guess kind of thing. And sometimes that's all you can do.
Does the family know that the ground penetration radar was done and there was evidence of?
Yeah.
So maybe they might feel that they want the marker to be where there's for sure a body.
Yeah.
And we might, I see what you're saying too, but this is their thing and
Right.
they might say, why didn't you consult us about where you put this thing? I don't know them, so I don't know how picky
None
they
of
would
us
be
know
about
them.
it.
They just kind of came and
Yeah, well,
went.
Dee's spoken to them.
And so, but they may have a feeling about it, I guess is what I'm saying.
I guess my conjecture on this whole thing, looking at it, we say it's the families, but in reality, it really belongs to the history of the city of Portsmouth too. So it's not exclusive, and I don't know how much time should be spent worrying about
Who's where?
it is. I'll go up and look at it again and take some pictures.
Yeah,
And
let me
we
know,
can-
because I will show you why I think the way I think about it, but
Yeah.
it's not a big deal to me.
Yeah.
It's like,
No, and I think we all welcome suggestions, absolutely. So
Big deal.
And we picked that side because the ground penetrating went there. So, and we know it didn't work out for yellow fever, but it was still movement there. So, and we'll anyway. So we'll do that and see what happens. My only last thing about the August timeframe and speaking to Suzanne. Again, I think I had said to you, they need to let us know if they're thinking about having a real big ceremony, because we have to go through the process if that's what they're thinking about.
Right. She hasn't responded from my last email.
She yeah.
So I'll follow up with her.
I would send an invitation I leave it up to them. If they respond, fine. If they don't, fine.
Well,
At
we
this
can't-
point, we have done due diligence.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. Well, if, just like the SAR is going to be the Sons of the American Revolution honoring the people that were at Fort William and Mary, the final date is September 28th. And the reason that's a part of this conversation is we had to go online, Corin and I did, with the fire department, the police department, Suzanne, and Karen Kennard. I can't even remember who else was there. Because if it turns into anything more than 4 or 5 people, we can't just, and what they think they want to do. They can't just come into town and say, this is what we're going to do, and we've got 15, 20 people coming. We need to know that in advance. Because one of the most important things about this committee, and what Eva was talking about, is like, you have to obey, or not, it's strict, but that's what it is. You have to go by the rules. And that's one of the big rules. So if we went ahead and had 15, 20 people there and someone from the city got pissed off about it, it could put us in jeopardy. And I always look at it that way, that there's nothing that stops any part of the city saying, okay, you guys did a good job, thank you, goodbye. So that's where I'm coming from, and I don't want to see that happen. And so there are guidelines we have to go by. And Suzanne had said, if it instead of, if they get it here, that's one thing, but we still need to know it in advance if they're thinking about it. Because I would like to see like somebody from the mayor's office or whatever come, because it does belong to the history part of it belongs to Portsmouth too. So I mean, it should be recognized at that level. So am I getting hysterical? Sorry. Sorry, my voice, I can feel my voice or anything. So that's where I'm coming with that. And if they don't get back to us, then we can certainly tell them, okay, in the spring next year, we'll do it.
Yeah.
And make it again to get us out there, but also that people need to know. I brought it up at my history thing, and everybody was like, "Oh yeah, really?" They had no idea about the diner and the first African American school and all of that. So, if we're going to do it, I just want us to do it right. And I'm looking at you. I'm sorry.
I have no pony, no horses on this race.
But-
What I'm saying is that for what I'm seeing, if the family is not interested in participating, all you can do is to send an invitation. That's all I'm saying. Not to bypass any of the required approvals from the town, but it's like you're in a bus, you're moving along. Hop on board if you want to participate. If not, I'll see you next stop. That's how I look at it.
No, and I probably left out the part, or I did leave out the part. The family is not quick on anything to react. So it's dealing with them. They're sort of laid back about all of this. So I don't want to. It's a fine line trying to accommodate everybody.
And then when they do get involved, they're pretty aggressive.
Yes, exactly. So,
I have been part of many events that you try to accommodate everybody. You can't. You can only accommodate as many people as you're able.
Yeah.
And if they cannot make it this time, and it is okay for everybody in town, but not for them, well, next year when they come, maybe they can lay a wreath on the headstone.
Yeah.
And that will be covered again as an event.
Perfect.
That all depends on whether the headstone shows up or not. So, in a way, I'm wishing it doesn't. That will take care of everything, and we can plan next year. So, and who's to know that they can't come up for some reason too.
Yeah. So
Does anybody else have anything they want to bring up before I have one?
Please.
Next month, the first Thursday is the 4th of July.
I'm going to get to that. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the reconstruction?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Is it starting next week?
Yes, it will start Monday. I met with Christoph today. All the brush has been cut. We have a little bit more to do. We have to tweak it a little bit tomorrow.
The seawall, yeah.
Seawall. And he'll be moving his equipment and materials in Monday morning before they park. So he has to have everything in by 7. And then he'll start
At North?
at Union.
At Union?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the benches have been moved. So if you go down there, the benches are just out of the way. They'll get put back.
Do they have to? That's another
Oh, yeah,
thing.
they're right where his equipment has to go. So we have.
Oh, no. I meant, do the benches have
Oh,
to go
yeah.
back?
It actually looks really nice without all the brush there. There's a
Sure. It's
beautiful view of the.
Sorry.
While you're there
Uh-huh.
by Union, as you enter,
No.
you have North
No,
and you
Sue.
have Union, all right?
Okay.
There is what looks like the leftovers of a very large tree. It's only like the trunk
I know.
part,
That's,
is pretty degraded by now, but it's like somebody can twist an ankle in the air, and it would behoove us just to fill that
Well,
up.
probably when we go fix the damage from this project, it would be a great time to do that.
Yep,
for
that's
sure.
what I
Absolutely.
figure is a great opportunity to mention that, because
Got it.
I was
Yeah,
looking
and
at it the other
and
day,
we've
and I'm
talked- And we've talked
We've talked
about it.
about
It's on the list.
Thank you. No, we'll do that, definitely.
It's on the list.
So there's a little bit more brush to cut. Max is going to do that in the morning, and then it's ready to go. And they'll start Monday, and I don't know how long. I asked how long he thought it would take. He really wasn't sure.
And they're going to bring in,
It all just depends on what happens when he gets started.
yeah.
It's a little bit dynamic.
And we can't touch any of the rocks that fell over, right?
Right. That's right.
I don't care.
So-
It's all right.
Anyway, it's in motion.
Yes, Suzanne had told me that she had gotten or Peter, whatever, that's going. Yes, I'm so excited. Another big project. We got trees cut, cemeteries cleared, walls built. So unless there's any objection, I spoke to Suzanne. I did not speak to you, sorry, but I already know I think I know your opinion. We really don't need any meetings this summer. Everything we're doing, we've discussed, we all know what's going on. We're not applying for any grants or doing any of that. Anything that comes up that Corin or I or Dee think we should let everybody know, I mean, something out of the ordinary, we could always do a check and see if we can do a Zoom meeting or something like that. I don't anticipate that. But we can still stay in touch and let you guys know when trainings are and all that sort of stuff. We don't have to have meetings to do that. So I guess we probably should take a vote on that. So
Are we getting in trouble with the more than 5 people, or, you know?
no, we're not.
Okay.
Don't even. Just erase that out of your minds, everybody. Just erase it.
Okay.
Okay, because.
Okay. They've made such a big deal of it.
I know.
Beginning, so.
We can talk to each other. What we can't do is 5 of us all of a sudden be online or texting, emailing, saying, yes, I want to vote and do this. I want to vote and do that. We can't do that, but we can certainly
Okay.
contact each other in general. So, and you can ask a fellow committee member if, hey, I just found this out. You're interested in this, so you can talk about that stuff, because you guys aren't. It's nothing that's before us. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's something you would bring back to us. So yes, somebody make a motion that, or how do we do it? I know.
I would move to postpone or to reschedule July and August meeting and reconvene in September.
Is someone to second it?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. And I seriously, you can reach out.
Find
If
her
something comes up or you find out something fabulous or whatever, you can reach out to myself or Dee or Suzanne or Corin, and we'll all get the benefit of it. And it would be nice if somebody wins megabucks or something. And so now we need a motion to end the meeting. Is that correct?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.